What are GMOs? Do you know what GMOs are? Have you ever heard of GMOs? You're probably wondering where I came up with the idea to talk about GMOs for a current issue. Well, it all started a few years ago when I went to FFA camp. At camp, they mentioned to us that people around the world are poorly informed of what exactly GMOs are. This is leading people to make big adjustments to their lifestyle just because they have either been poorly informed or misled. After hearing this, you should ask yourself, have you ever been poorly informed or misled about what exactly GMOs are? Hopefully after this speech, you'll be able to correctly inform others about what exactly GMOs are. People that may have uninformed others does not mean that it is on purpose. This easily could be due to them being uninformed themselves, but it also could be due to the way that they're describing GMOs. To keep this an unbiased speech, I plan on showing you the differences between websites that I found that are either correctly informing or poorly informing. This is to show you the proof. To begin, I plan on correctly informing you about what GMOs are, and hopefully you'll easily be able to correctly inform others. Most people know GMOs as genetically modified organisms. You might still be a little lost about what exactly that is I'm talking about. According to GMOs FAQ, it's when genetic material from a species is combined with an organism. After hearing that, you may begin to think that GMOs have to occur due to people, but that's not necessarily true. Genetically modified organisms can occur due to the weather or even it being like the run of the litter. This is when GMOs have to be used to help the few seeds that potentially won't do as well. That's why I refer to it as the run of the litter. Many people think that GMOs occur in a lab. This hasn't occurred until more recently, but there are certain websites such as Biologist, the Thoris. The way that they're describing what genetically modified organisms are or were is misleading by saying it's when a gene is from an organism is purposely moved to improve another organism in a laboratory. This is misleading because they make it seem as that the only time that GMOs occur is in a lab, which isn't true. Now that you know what genetically modified organisms are, I can now explain why it's important to really understand where your food comes from. It's important to understand where your food comes from and what's in it. Do you know where your food comes from? Do you know what exactly is all in your food? It's important to understand where your food comes from and have a good understanding of all of the hard work that the farmer went through to create you a nutritious meal. If you're fully aware of where your food comes from, then you'll be able to educate others, which is something that needs to be done. You also need to be aware of what your food contains. To be aware of what you're putting in your body, you need to be aware of what is used in your foods and what is used to make your food. If you're well aware of what you're putting in your body, it makes it much easier to keep track of your health, which I'm sure we all know how important that is. It's important to know what exactly you're eating, but it's also important to know what products have GMOs in them. I will further explain many GMO products next. Did you know that there are many food products that contain GMOs that you can easily find at your local grocery store? According to Top 10 Worst GMO Foods for your GMO Foods list, cornstarch is an easy example of the food product that contains GMOs. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. This is just to improve the quality of the corn. Sugar is a product that I was very surprised to read about. Sugar has GMOs in it, but it's due to one key ingredient only, which is sugar beets. But there are many more products that you may be surprised about that I'm going to continue to list out. Papayas contain GMOs. Papayas are grown in Hawaii and can be bought here in the U.S. You may start wondering why papayas contain GMOs, considering they are grown in Hawaii and they were considering abandoning GMOs. But according to the Farmer's Daughter USA, voters in Maui County, Hawaii, want to make their own rules about GMOs in their own county, but the state of Hawaii wouldn't allow it. Did you know that canola seeds are one of the most chemically treated seeds to improve the quality of the canola oil for us consumers? Now that you've been educated about many food products that you can easily find in your local grocery store, let's look at a few different sides on GMOs. There are many different pictures that can easily give you, as the audience, a good idea of what many people believe GMOs are. Here are a few pictures that can show the differences between the sides, such as the pro side for GMOs and the con side for GMOs. You can see that there are many differences between the two. Now take a minute and think about what these mean. Now, after looking at that, I'm sure we all got our own thoughts together. But after I looked at that, what I see from the pro side, I see that it's saying without pesticides, you can't keep flies away, which is only going to lower the quality of the corn. And after looking at the con side, I see that it's saying, it's making you ask yourself, would you really wear a mask when spraying? You would wear a mask when spraying pesticides, but would you really wear a mask when eating your food? These pictures are here just to give you an idea of what the both sides are. Many people don't really understand the differences between the pros and the cons of whether they agree with GMOs and whether they like GMOs. But this kind of gives you an idea of whether GMOs are good or bad. This gives you a chance to see your side. Don't forget that the point of this speech is to inform you about GMOs due to people around the world being poorly informed of what exactly GMOs are. As I mentioned earlier, I remember at FFA camp about how important it is for us to advocate because our world needs to be well informed about agriculture. Throughout this speech, I informed you of what exactly GMOs are, why it's important to understand what GMOs are, and what a few food products are that contain GMOs. I know that this may not be considered a very current issue, but it is until everyone around the world is correctly educated about GMOs. Now that I've covered exactly what genetically modified organisms are, do you believe that you could correctly inform others about GMOs? Well, once again, this is an important topic that people have been poorly informed of. This will always be the current issue within the agriculture side of news. Thank you.